Hi, hello, and welcome to Myth Power. I'm Madhurima Sapati, a burnout soul coach and an extremely multi passionate person. I'm going to be your friend, philosopher, and guide through this journey called life. Now, I remember that the last two videos that I did were all around entrepreneurship. The first one being 9 reasons why we need solopreneurs in the world, which you can find right here. And the next video was why you should not be a solopreneur or why you should not become an entrepreneur, which you can again check out right here. Now, as I was going through the videos, I was like, you know what? I want to do something more fun, funnier than my normal weird humor and my crazy self. And I was like, I am going to react to one of my favorite characters from Encanto, which has come to become my favorite movie. And I remember watching it the very first time, and I say the first time because I've seen it a lot of times. Too many times, according to my mom, I've annoyed her a lot, and she keeps telling me to stop singing about Bruno, but like we don't talk about him. Anyways, it's a really good movie, and the first time I heard Jessica Darrow sing Surface Pressure, I was like, yo, this song is dope, and I could definitely use this to better explain burnout. Now, before we jump into the reaction part of it, I wanted to share this. Now, according to me, and this is just my perception, this is not something that everyone um like this is not kind of officialized in any way. This is just my thought process that when it comes to burnout, there are four types of burnout: physical burnout, emotional burnout, mental burnout, and spiritual burnout. And a lot of times, when it comes to physical burnout, it's often found in athletes, in people who are in extreme sports. And what happens is when they train too much or when they utilize their body too much, they go into this state of not being able to improve but not wanting to get back into the zone and do what they love to do. And there is actually something like this called the overtraining syndrome. I will attach a link in the description so that you guys can take a deeper dive into it. But there are four types of burnout. And in Luisa Madrigal's character from Encanto, you see the physical burnout. In Luisa Madrigal's character, we see the physical burnout happen, which is kind of caused by the emotional burnout and the mental strain that is on her, and hence the mental burnout. And now the thing is, one type of burnout can easily lead to the other types of burnout, kind of like they hold hands and cause a chain reaction sort of a thing. And in Luisa's character, we see that happen. We see the mental strain and the emotional strain kind of lead her down the path of physical burnout. And you know what, let me not bore you. Let's get into the character analysis of Luisa Madrigal. I'm gonna play a clip here and let's see what happens. So many stars and everybody gets. I love how we kind of start off with Luisa's character introduction by her running, using Casita as a treadmill and just running and working out her biceps at the same time. Like, gold. It's film gold right there. Because I've seen this movie, I'm going to make a count of how many number of times Luisa is already doing something and someone tells her to do something completely different, and she drops that and she goes to do the other thing. Mostly because I want to do this theory, and I will talk more about it when it comes to surface pressure, but let's do a count. My older sisters, Isabella and Luisa. One strong, one Luisa, and Luisa's super strong. The beauty and the blonde, do no wrong.
That's good, Daddy. Homie, Luella.
That's life in the family. But
Goes upstairs. I'm on it. Oh, careful, sis. Bailando. There we go.
Luisa.
Fuck.
Love how when she's setting the table, it's like autopilot mode, right? Like she sets the table, she brings like 8 glasses of juice all at the same time for everyone in the family. It's kind of like it's not even an afterthought, it's instinct that she does all these things all at the same time. So yeah, I'm actually excited to do this character analysis, because the moment I saw it, I was like, okay, we're doing this.
Luisa, can you reroute the river? Will do. Luisa, the donkeys got out again.
On it. Lisa, tell me about the magic. What's going on? What are you hiding?
Nothing. Just got a lot of chores, so maybe you should just go home.
Lisa, my house is leaning to the.
Dolores said your eye was.
Also, why is the house tilting? Like, what's wrong with the foundation? It's almost scary. Like, do houses usually tilt like that? Why was that house tilting? And why was that the only house that was tilting? Maybe Louisa kind of like did a sweep, moved some earth around, and the house just went. Anyways, it was very funny.
Twitching.
Move. You're gonna make me drop a donkey.
Luisa, tell me what it is.
There's nothing to tell.
You're obviously worried about something. Lisa, if you know what's hurting the magic and it gets worse because you won't tell me what's wrong.
Nothing's wrong.
Here you kind of see, okay, like she has this mask, and every time every time Mirabelle goes, "What's wrong? Tell me what's happening. You're nervous. What's happening?" You can see her facial expressions kind of tighten and go, "I don't want to go. I don't want to tell her." And like when she bursts out, you can see that mask basically crack, and that leads us to the song Surface Pressure. So let's go into it. I'm going to be super annoying here, to be completely honest. I'm going to be super annoying, and yeah, I'm going to pause every 2 seconds to basically share my thoughts on the lyrics. So get ready to be annoyed. I'm telling you this beforehand. Like, if you want to listen to the song completely, hit pause right here. Go listen to the song, come back so that you can enjoy the song without me interrupting every 5 seconds. This is what my family suffers through every time we sit down to watch movies and TV shows. So, get ready for it.
Why would anything go wrong? I'm totally fine. Magic's fine. Luisa's fine. I'm totally not nervous.
Your eye is doing the thing.
I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is.
Okay, so we hear her mention how she's strong. Like, this is her setting basically what her mask looks like. Okay, she's the strong one. She doesn't get nervous, and she's as strong as the crust of the earth. But get this, okay, the crust usually breaks open when there are earthquakes happening, when there's something deeper on a very deep level kind of messed up, it's moving around. That's when the crust breaks up. And I feel like while she sets the tone for who she is, she also sets the tone of the flaws and what's going on inside of her. So great lyrics, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I love you, bro. You're awesome. If you're watching this video, you're awesome. Know that I'm a huge fan. I'm not gonna get into that. I'll go into a spiral that no one can come out of.
Okay.
I move mountains, I move churches, and I glow cause I know what my worth is.
Of course, I mean.
Again, you hear her mention this, and this is going to be really important later on in the song, because she goes, "I glow because I know what my worth is." And while this sounds really amazing, let's see where her glow comes from and where her worth comes from.
Where are you going? I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a rough, indestructible surface. Diamonds and platinum, I find them, I flatten them. I take what I'm handed, I break what's demanded.
This is also seriously important because, as I was mentioning, we did a count of how many times Louisa was asked to do something while she was doing something else. And here we kind of get that notion that she doesn't really set boundaries, right? Like, she's trying to tell us how strong she is, but it also shows that she does not set any boundaries whatsoever. Someone asks her to move the church. Okay, yeah, cool, let's do it. Someone asks her to find her their donkey. She does it. Someone asks her to reroute the river, literally change the course of nature. She does it without any questions. And I feel like this is like a really good case of an entrepreneur who's starting out in their business, and everyone around the world is giving them tips, right? And they go from one thing to another thing because they want to succeed. And so they move from one thing to another thing. Someone says, "Hey, do this," and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, let me try that." Then someone else says, "Hey, you should try this, this helped me, and you're like, yeah, 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 I'll try that as well. Like, what's there to lose? What's the risk? And you shift things from one place to another place, and she does the same exact thing. She does not have any boundaries whatsoever when it comes to her personal thing. No matter who, no matter when she's asked to do something, she does it. Someone tells her, hey, find the hardest um, elements and materials on the planet earth. She finds them, and someone goes, hey, maybe you could try flattening them, and she does that as well. Like, she doesn't ask questions, that she doesn't ask how hard is it going to be. And here we see that in doing that, she doesn't set any boundaries for her physical limits, right? She's like, okay, yeah, you're asking me to do, I don't care how difficult it is, I'll do it. It can drive a person crazy. And I also feel this, right? Like, a lot of the tasks are basically unnecessary. If I were to say that, like, moving a church from a spot to another spot doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, I'm getting married, this scenery is not nice, Luisa, can you pick up the church and put it somewhere else? Like, I don't feel like that's an important enough task. Someone says, hey, can you gather all my donkeys? And if those donkeys have been lost a lot of times, maybe the other person should be like, okay, let me tie up my donkeys better. I don't know, like, this sounds too normal and familiar for her. She might probably be dealing with this every single day. It creates that repetitive task and the repetitive notion of, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. And I feel like, as much as she and the other madrigals help the community, there is not a lot of response. Like, the community probably takes them for granted. And I know this sounds harsh, but it kind of happens, right? Like, if you have someone who can help you out, you're going to ask them for help no matter what. Like, you don't hit pause and think, oh, maybe I could do this. You go, they can do it, it's easier for them, so let them do it. I'm just going to ask them for help. And I feel like this is something that also adds to the surface pressure, something that we'll dive deeper into in the coming few lyrics.
Under the surface, I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a 3-ring circus.
She constantly feels as if she's going crazy, and that she's being watched by everyone in her family and her community. Basically, like, if she takes a single misstep, if she makes a small mistake, it's all going to come crashing down, and everyone is going to be watching. And so she can't afford mistakes. Like, even if she's going crazy, underneath the mask of having it all figured out and being strong and emotionally, like, yeah, I got this kind of a thing, and mentally strong, internally she's going crazy.
Under the surface, was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't wanna fight Cerberus?
This is also important. I feel like a lot of times, let's imagine Luisa being asked to move churches when she was like 10 years old or 11 years old, right? The first time she was asked to do this, she probably felt scared to do this, because it's like, oh my god, I don't know if I can carry the entire church with people inside of them, and I don't know if I'll get crushed under the weight. But while this fear exists, and that's what she's trying to say, this fear exists within me, but I have to kind of basically not look at it, because if I do, like, there's no point in looking at my fear. I have to do this. I do what's demanded of me, and irrespective of this feeling of fear, irrespective of the feeling of being crushed under the weight, she doesn't have any other option other than to go out there and do the things that she has to do.
Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can be of service.
Boom. The first time we hear her say, I glow because I know what my worth is. And here she mentions, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be of service. She basically tells us that her worth is directly connected to her gift, which is her strength. And so the minute, like, let's say she wants to take a break, let's say she wants to go, I don't want to do this, this is stupid, I don't want to do this. Like, let's say she's scared of something, I'm scared, I don't want to do this. The fear of being worthless, the fear of not being able to be in service of the people around her, creates this mentality that okay, I can't take a break, I can't rest, I can't say no ever, because the minute I do, I'm worthless, and so I will stop glowing, I won't believe in myself, right? Like right now her entire personality is her strength, like she is her gift, nothing outside of it.
A flaw or a crack, the straw in the stack that breaks the camel's back. What breaks the camel's back?
I love this line because okay, the thing is, all of us, almost all of us are always aware that we're going through a burnout, right? Like she's aware that she's under stress, she's aware that she's under pressure, but she can't prioritize it, right? We are often looking for the rock bottom. We are like, oh, I haven't had that moment where I go and since I haven't had that moment, I have the opportunity to keep going. My burnout is not serious enough, my stress is not serious enough, because I haven't reached that rock bottom, and I'm constantly looking for what breaks the camel's back. It could be a flaw, it could be a misstep, it could be anything, and she's constantly looking for what breaks the camel's back, and then it fades into
It's pressure like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Whoa. Pressure that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Whoa.
I love this line. So I love this whole song. So, like, I'll probably say this millions of times um throughout this breakdown. Basically, she knows that what is breaking her. Again, like, a lot of people are aware of what's causing the stress. A lot of people are aware of what's causing the pressure. And in her case, it's the pressure that goes drip, drip, drip. And I love it because oftentimes we imagine that what's going to break us is going to be this huge thing, right? Like this huge monumental thing that will be the final cherry on the top, basically, that causes the breakdown. But oftentimes it's the tiny things, it's the droplet of water that keeps falling down. And like when we hit pause, we look at one particular scene, it's like, oh, okay, I get it that she's stressed, but it's not something that could damage her mental psyche and her emotional well-being. But when we widen the frame, we see that okay, this water drops have been falling for almost 15 to 20 years now, and that's crazy. How much pressure and stress is she under, right? And she realizes that that pressure will keep building up until she explodes. But again, like what I was saying, we are aware that at one point of time we are going to break down, we are going to have that huge meltdown, basically. But until it happens, she's going to continue doing what she does, because she doesn't have a moment of rest. Because the moment she rests, she thinks, oh, I'm worthless, I can't be of service, so I'm worthless, so I can't rest now. And so it's the mental uh, burnout basically tying into the physical burnout aspect of this.
Give it to your sister's older. Give her all the heavy things we can't shoulder. Who am I if I can't run with the ball?
I love this song. Here we kind of figure out that, okay, you know what? Her identity is tied up to her strength. Something that I mentioned earlier. Oh my God, I love it. And something that I mentioned earlier are going to be the two things that could be a pretty cool drinking game. If you guys are watching this, you can drink a sip of water, water, not mixed with anything else, and have a healthy viewing session, basically. But the reason why I love this is because we first realized that her worth is tied to her strength. Now we realize that her entire identity is tied to her strength. And the reason why this is so important is because let's say you stop working at a 9 to 5 and you become an entrepreneur. You're passionate about something. You're like, oh, this is going to be a great idea, I'm going to do this. And the more you enjoy it, I'm not saying not to enjoy your work, but the thing is, the entrepreneurial side, the work side of us becomes the entire aspect. And it happens a lot of times. We become passionate, we become obsessed. And it happens to the point where if our other part of ourself goes, hey, you know what? I really, really enjoy painting. Would you be up for painting something today? the work self goes, no, I can't paint, because if I paint I will be wasting time, and I can't waste time, because if I waste time, that I'm not working, and if I'm not working, then I'm worthless, so I can't paint right now. And so it creates this cycle of work, 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 and rest is bad. Rest is so bad, you can't waste time, you can't enjoy your hobbies. And everyone goes through this subconsciously, right? Like consciously, I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, Madhurima, no one does that. Like, who wants to be in a position like that? But we often do that, knowingly or unknowingly. And this is not me scolding you. This is not me being like, hey, you do this and you're bad. It's not bad. I'm reminding you that stuff like this can happen. And the reason why I'm reminding you is because this allows you to be in awareness. The moment you catch yourself doing something similar to this, you go, you know what, I am going to hit pause and I am going to enjoy, because I am not just my work, I am so much more than that. My entire self is not attributed to work only. I love painting, I love cooking, I love spending time with my family, I love going to museums, I love doing so many things. And all of those things are not bad, they are all good, they are a part of me. And so the reason why I share this is to remind you that if you catch yourself going down the loop of I can't take a break, I can't rest, hit pause and create the thought process of I'm going to take a break for an hour where I'm going to do something that I love, so that I don't drain down, I don't burn out, I don't function from a very less efficiency, rather than if I take a break now for an hour, do something that I genuinely love outside of working, I'm going to go back to my job, to my work, something that I love as well, with a higher efficiency level. So, yeah, just a reminder.
If I fall to pressure like a grip, 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 and it won't let go. Whoa. Pressure like a tick, 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 till it's ready to blow. Whoa. Give it to your sister stronger. See if she can hang on a little longer. Who am I if I can't carry it all? If I falter.
Again, that moment of existential crisis, right? Like, who am I if I can't carry it all? Who, give me your strength? And here we see her literally taking not only the physical burdens, not only the physical baggage, but also the emotional baggage, the mental baggage of it all. Like, she represents strength in the Madrigal family and the community, so much so that she invites not only physical situations to overcome, she also invites the community to share their burdens with them, at least if not the community, at least the family, to share their burden with them so that she can take care of it. And this is a song that I have seriously, I kid you not, I have cried to this song, because as an elder sibling I understand that feeling of having to take everything on my shoulders and hold on to everything. And so it's just chef's kiss, this song is amazing. And you also realize that she has this, right, again playing into the identity part of it, her entire identity is her strength. And so she has this existential crisis moment where every time she stops doing what she's supposed to be doing, that is carrying the weight and the burden of the people around her, she feels disconnected. She's like, I don't know who I am outside of this. So
Under the surface, I had my nerves and it worsens. I worry something is gonna hurt us.
this is so amazing because it kind of strengthens the concept of the mask. She has this mask, she wears it to hide her nerves. Every time she feels nervous, every time she has any emotions that go against the concept of strength, may it be physical, emotional, mental, she hides it away so that she can appear strong and brave and like, yes, I have this, I have everything under control. Because she's afraid that the moment she stops that, the moment she stops being powerful or be seen as the representation of strength, something is going to hurt their family, something is going to hurt the community, and she doesn't want that to happen. So she can't afford to take breaks and relax, basically.
I under the surface. The ship doesn't swerve as it hurt how big the iceberg is under the surface. I think about my purpose. Can I somehow preserve this?
We hear her comparing her worth, her identity, and now her purpose. So she probably thinks about her purpose outside of being the representation of strength. And she can't find anything, and she can't afford to think about anything else outside of that, because again, it's like, who is she if she's not this? Who is she if she's not um taking care of the family? Who is she if she's not fixing Mirabelle's specs as they fight stuff around in her imagination? Who is she if she's not taking care of the community and the family? So she's amazing.
Line up the dominoes, the light wind blows. You try to stop it, topple it, but on it goes. But wait, if I could shake the crushing weight of expectations, would that free some room up for joy or relaxation?
As I was mentioning, right, like, we are aware of what's causing that pressure. We are aware that we are going through a burnout. We are aware that this is something that can help us. Taking a break can help us, relaxing can help us, but we often don't do that, right? And it's because of, and you can understand this if you watch the song carefully. Throughout the song, she mentions how this is like a do or die situation for her. Like, the moment she hits pause and takes a break, something wrong is going to happen, and so she can't afford to take a break. And this is a concept that everyone feels at one point of time in their life, whether in their personal or professional life, that if I take a break, things are going to get messed up. If I take a break, my company is going to fail. If I take a break, my book won't write itself, or that painting won't finish itself, and I can't take a break. It's a do or die situation. I have a deadline approaching. I can't do this, I can't do this, so I have to keep working. And the reason why this part is really important is because it kind of shows that she's not really happy in what she's doing, because the stress and pressure of it is so much that it just drives her crazy. Outside, maybe externally, she's like, yo, I got everything done, I am awesome. But internally, there is that craziness, that frenziness happening. There is that constant stress and pressure, and she's not happy doing this, right? This is gold, because oftentimes we find ourselves in a situation where it we are doing something that we love, something that we have dreamed of doing for a pretty long time. It could be creating, it could be being an entrepreneur, can be coaching. I'm pretty sure a lot of coaches are going, coaches can go through burnout. Yeah, but it's a story for another time. I'll go deeper into that at another point of time. But oftentimes it can feel like we don't really enjoy it anymore. What started as something that was pure happiness and joy suddenly turns into this routine of doing this and this and this, and making sure this doesn't fail, this doesn't crash, this doesn't burn. And it's no longer fun and joy, which is a sure way sign to figure out that, hey, something's wrong. Like, it could be a burnout, it could be something completely different, but it's something that you can definitely look into and learn more about.
Relaxation or simple pleasure. Instead, we measure this growing pressure. Keeps growing, keep going, 'cause all we know.
This part is really amazing, is because even in her imagination, she's taking a break, she's taking a mini break, right? She's talking about her emotions with Mirabelle. And even in that, suddenly there are boulders falling down, and she has to go, hold on, I can't take a break. Even in my imagination, I have to hold this because my sister's right there and I have to protect her.
Pressure like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Whoa. Pressure that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Whoa. Give it to your sister, it doesn't hurt, and see if she can handle every family burden. Watch as she buckles and bends, but never breaks.
Here we see her reforming the mask, right? Telling us that it doesn't hurt, but we all know it hurts because it has, like, she has mentioned that this is not something she finds joy in. She's feeling crazy around carrying so much burdens and weight, but give me everything, I can handle it. Like, these emotions don't matter, they matter, but they don't matter because I have to show up, I have to be the person who carries all the weight because there's no one else who can do it. So
No mistakes, just pressure like a grip, 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 then it won't let go. Whoa. Pressure like a tick, 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 till it's ready to blow. Whoa. Give it to your sister and never wonder if this ain't pressure would have pulled you under. Who am I if I don't have what it takes? No cracks, no breaks, no mistakes, no pressure.
she reaffirms this, right? Like, no pressure, no cracks, no breaks. She doesn't have anything. And she mentions what this means. That is how she lives, that is how she experiences life.
I think you're carrying way too much.
Maybe I overdo it.
Yep.
There is something you should know. Last night, when you saw the cracks, I felt weak.
What?
Luisa, the donkeys!
On it!
Wait.
Like, she's being vulnerable, and even then she does not have the time to be vulnerable because someone is asking her to do another task. And here we start to kind of see, counterintuitive to how she entered the song, we can see her mask cracking. And you will see this throughout the rest of the movie, that I feel like we all have this mask, right? And the moment that mask is kind of taken away by something that's not in our control, there's this emotional overwhelm that happens. We go, okay, there's so many things happening, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to speak, I don't know what's happening, and all your emotions come flowing out almost instantly. And no matter how hard you try to keep, they kind of spill over, irrespective of how hard you try to hold on to your emotional mask. And we see this happening with Louisa through the rest of the movie, where she just basically becomes extremely vulnerable. And I believe not on her own accord. Like, she doesn't become vulnerable, she doesn't express her true self because she wants to, it's because she's losing her gift. And subconsciously her mind goes, well, if I am losing my mask, might as well be vulnerable, might as well show my true self, which happens quite a lot of times. I believe, in my experience, it has happened quite a few times. So yeah.
I'm losing my gift! What? Mirabelle and I were having this little talk about me carrying too much, so I tried not to carry so much, but I realized it was putting me behind. I knew I was gonna let everyone down, and I felt really bad, so I was grabbing all the donkeys. But then when I went to throw the donkeys in the barn, they were heavy.
Ooh, this is such an amazing moment because this happens almost every single time. Okay, like, I'm not even kidding. The first time you start to work on something, it can be burnout. The first time when you go, hey, you know what, I'm going to relax without any proper plans, basically, you go, I had this talk and I'm going to relax. You instantly start to feel this guilt. All the things that we spoke about, all the things that Louisa spoke about, that her worth is connected to the amount of work she's doing, and if she's in service, no matter how good a talk is, at the end of the day, if you don't work on those feelings before having that talk, and this is where mindset comes into place, right? Like, every coach out there will start their sessions with mindset because they want to understand what is happening in this person's mind. They want to work on the limiting beliefs before starting to work on the true problem. And so this happens. You start something, you go, okay, you know what, that was good talk, I'm going to start taking care of myself. But the minute you start to take care of yourself, this guilt starts to creep in, and you go, maybe I'm not enough, maybe I am taking this break because I'm not a worthy enough person. Like, if I was at a very high standard, at a higher standard than where I am right now, I wouldn't be in need of a break. And hence, what I actually need to do is work harder. And that's something that happens to Louisa. Like, it's quite similar, right? Like, she's like, okay, you know what? I'll not rest. I mean, I'll not I'll not work so much. I'll take a break. But then she starts to feel guilty and she's like, oh my God, how are people going to react to this? How is my family going to react to the people reacting to her not working? Right. So it's a judgment kind of cycle, basically, that the minute she starts to judge herself based on the perspectives of the community who she thinks is going to judge her for not working enough. And then that judgment flows into how the family is going to view her. And this is external pressure, not the internal pressure we were talking about. I mean, it's kind of linked, to be honest. But the external pressure of what the family is going to think of her, what the community is going to think of her. So she starts to feel guilty and she starts to work harder. And she realizes that, oh, I'm losing my gift. And then it all comes crashing down on her, right? Like, if she was taking a break and she felt a bit weak, she wouldn't have felt this much pressure as she was when she created this need to work harder and then suddenly not being able to do the thing that you're doing. This is what happens in burnout. To be completely honest, you don't feel motivated enough to work. You can't work. You can't create something new. You can't do anything that will help you go ahead in your work. And so when you realize that, you go, okay, I can't do this. I am feeling very guilty. I'm going to do 10 things together rather than doing one thing at a time. And it's going to cause that overwhelm, and you're not going to be able to do any of that. And it's going to make you feel even more stressed out than before. Think of it like this: the importance of mindset, the importance of understanding the limiting beliefs, your limiting beliefs, basically is similar to someone trying to quit smoking because someone said, hey, don't, like, smoking is bad. And you go, you know what, I've heard this enough number of times, maybe I should quit. And you try to quit, and there's this craving that comes in, and so you end up smoking more than you were smoking before. Weird example, not really related to this, but it kind of explains that sense of addiction and obsession when it comes to your work self, and when it comes to one particular aspect of you being your entirety. I feel like it's time we start to become more aware and respect all of these beings. It's a constant process. It's something that I have to deal with a lot of times. Um, be in awareness of the fact that I'm just not one being. And it all comes down to awareness, right? Like, sometimes those cycles are going to break, those systems are going to break, and you are going to be faced with a new situation altogether, kind of like Louisa. She never thought that she would be losing her gift, but she's losing her gift. And so, irrespective of how amazing your systems are, you are going to break at one point of time. And um, it's all about awareness. If you're aware of yourself, if you're aware of what you need at that particular point, you can instantly hit pause and go, I'm going to do something that will help me get out of the mindset of hate and get into the mindset of love for myself, and to see the situation from a better perspective. So yeah. Anyways, let's get back to Louisa. We have gone on a super huge tangent. I probably used up a lot of my YouTube prompts for this. These were a lot of different YouTube video ideas. So
Could you bring over the piano? Okay.
It's actually.
again, you see her mask breaking and her being vulnerable. She started by being vulnerable in front of Mirabel, which was kind of okay, because they're sisters. But then she starts to be vulnerable around Abel, and that's like something huge, because they have always held this concept of being perfect and being strong. And to show that vulnerability not only around Abella, but also her guests and her family, her entire family and her guests, is something that's really, it shows that emotional overwhelm that happens when someone takes away your mask by force, which is not in your control.
Oh, I'm a loser.
Luisa will never be strong enough.
Boom, Mirabel literally hitting a nerve right there.
It may seem hopeless, We'll get by just fine.
I love how her body kind of goes like this, like when it talks about foundation, she's like almost like a subconscious this thing that I'm not strong enough to do this now.
The stars, it's time you learn. You're more than just your gift. And I'm sure.
And you see that here, like she, without being prompted to, she goes and she tries to lift up that huge part of a wall by herself, thinking that I can still do this outside of my gift. And she has never really depended on anyone. And this is so huge. Like, oftentimes we think that we are the only one who can do something impactful. We are the only one who can manage a particular task, and hence we don't delegate. We are the only one who can do this, and so we should be the one doing this, not someone else. Let it not be a burden of someone else. Let me handle it as much as I can. And we see that happening with Louisa as well, that sense of let me do it, like no one asked me to, but let me do it nonetheless.
A dream when we work as a team. You're so strong.
Yeah, but sometimes I
So
cry.
do I.
I may not be as strong, but I'm getting wiser.
I love this moment of vulnerability because this is something outside of the gift. This is something where the mask has dropped completely. The emotional overwhelm has come and gone. And now she's sharing her feelings with her sisters that, hey, like they're like, we'll work as a team together. And Isabella goes, you're so strong. And, she's like, yeah, but sometimes I cry. Thinking that that does not define strength, when in reality it does. Like everyone cries, everyone has those emotions. Going through those emotions does not make you weak. Oof. Vulnerability does not make you weak. Vulnerability is a strength. Being able to show up as your true self, being able to show your emotions is strength. No one has to um hold on to their emotions and be the perfect little person who's always going to be strong and who's always going to be supportive. It's so important to realize that that's not it. You can be yourself, you can show up, you can be vulnerable, you can cry, and all those things still make you a better person. It still makes you wiser. This movie, I love it, seriously.
Y revelando milagros en cada piso.
Here we see her. Okay, so this is so important. Throughout this review and this reaction video, you might think that I hate Louisa's gift and I hate the amount of pressure it puts on her, which I do, but like I don't hate her gift. It is a part of her. Again, it is not her entire self. And we see her finally being able to relax and just letting go and just being like, you know what, I'm going to take a break. It's important, it's crucial, because she enjoys her gift. Her strength is amazing. Going through a burnout doesn't mean that the thing that you loved is something that you have to hate from this moment onwards till entirety. It just means that, hey, it happens, and we are going to get through this. We are going to re-embrace ourselves and our gifts, and we are going to go back out there and start creating. But we will also create systems that allow us to enjoy the things that we create. It allows us to love what we love to do. It's so beautiful. Like, this does not mean that she has to hold on to the weight of the planet. This does not mean that it's a do or die situation. It means that she can take breaks and still do what she does, and it won't matter. Like, taking breaks won't take away from her identity, it won't take away from her worth. It will add on to it. It will allow her to explore her life and explore herself even further, and not have those dredging existential questions in the middle of the night. So I love this movie a lot, and I'll probably create more videos around it, hopefully in the future. But something exciting is coming up. First of all, thank you so much for watching till the end. It means a lot. Let me know in the comments below if something resonated, if something made sense, if you enjoyed particular aspects of the video, because it would mean a lot. And like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz, like Do it, guys, do it. I put a lot of time and energy into this, and I'm learning as I'm going. So I'd honestly appreciate your support on this journey. Outside of that, if anything from this video resonated with you, and if you had that calling and the urge to work on it, I have a special offer. I'm opening up 10 seats for a 3-day intimate one on one coaching. What this will allow you to do is, if you're going through something in your personal life, it could be how to love yourself, how to overcome self doubt, how to enjoy life, how to reconnect with yourself, figuring out different aspects of yourself, or it could be your professional life where you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, and there's imposter syndrome and perfectionism syndrome that you want to overcome. If you're going through any of these situations, if this video resonated with you and you were called to work on it, reach out to me. There's a link in the description where you can book a call with me. Let's hop on a discovery call. It will be around 30 minutes where we'll figure out if we are a good fit for each other, because I would love to work with you and help you overcome all these things that's going on. But quick disclaimer, this is not going to be a one in all solution. It is going to be something that will start your journey, right? And it's also a pay what you want container, so there's no fixed price. You can just come, you can be like, okay, yeah, enjoy the sessions and pay how much ever you want to pay. So yeah, but however, it's going to be 10 seats only. I have a few discovery calls lined up, so reach out as soon as possible. Hope this resonates. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Sending you lots of love, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love. See you soon. Bye. It's time to burn the burnout.